Diaries of Karma by Bad. Chapter 1. So I killed myself the other day, soon after. I was staring at that body of mine. How awkward. The name's Fred Bates, by the way. And let's not dwell on why I did it. Let me just say I realize a broken heart's a dumb reason to shove so much heroin into my body I would shit myself dry. I never had good coping skills. If I described myself in one word, the word would be weak. Nothing weak about dying, though. Death was the scariest moment of my existence. I choked and tasted vomit and then died. I think my tongue did me in. Swallowed the thing when it swelled up. And then I found myself standing outside my body. If it had not been for the watch on my freckled, stiff, lifeless wrist, I wouldn't have known 2 weeks, 6 days, 23 hours, and 11 seconds had gone by since I died. My curly red hair resembled copper. My eyes lost their bright allure. My body looked like wax. I was wearing the same brown sandals that I wore at my high school graduation about 7 years ago. It might sound weird, but being dead felt weightless, and clearer and easier to accept. A question lingered within me. If I wasn't inside my body, where was I? Then it hit me. I was an invisible. Ghost sounded so 1990. Aside from the recliner I toppled over, there was nothing else in the studio, not even a television set. Dust patterns from all the stuff I sold, sure. My body lay tilted gracelessly, my arm draped off the side of the chair. Under my fingers, on the floor, lay a puddle of blood from the puncture wound in my arm. Not the kind of blood spatter they show you in the movies, but the dry kind, which lacked the bright vermilion, stained the floorboards, and would make dogs whimper because they couldn't lick up the stain. I felt so indifferent about the situation at first. I wasn't cold like I expected, but my bluish corpse appeared frozen. So I must have been freezing when I died. My hairy thighs and icicle toes remained stiff. Before I went anywhere, I wanted someone to find that body of mine. I didn't try to kill myself either. It just happened. Junk felt free. I no longer thought of the pain she caused. After her door closed in my face, I became numb for weeks, months. Junk became my everything, even my personal dietitian. For a few minutes, I could relax in a beach chair with my toes in the sand, drink from a cup with an umbrella, and feel waves come up over my feet. No desire, such as the need for human embrace, held me down. I had found a new love, one that did not judge me. Finally, the apartment manager, David, unlocked the door and found me in my ultimate bliss. We used to play chess and discuss philosophy. He'd never seen a three-legged dog, let alone a dead body. David bellowed, "Hey, Bates, where?" He gasped. I could go. When I was alive, I often wondered where people went when they died. Not what I expected. No cosmic light or dark bony dude with a hatchet. Instead, an invisible went to a special place on instinct. My special place turned out to be the oak tree in my parents' yard. As a kid, I wrote poetry alongside the old sap bleeder. Seeing it as an invisible, I thought I saw veins along the wooden arm-like branches spreading over me. I could have sworn the middle of the trunk pulsated as though it contained a soothing heartbeat. 2 doors appeared in the middle of my tree and opened for me. Although I felt this urge to enter, I fled. Maybe those double doors would lead me to whatever came after death, and I wasn't ready to find out. I had so many questions unanswered, yet only one of them seemed important. Why had she reacted that way? So, I couldn't think about the double doors coming out of trees. Her door, the one that closed in my face, was the only door that mattered. I felt ever so hurt, alone, and helpless when she slammed it. I needed an answer more than anything. The only way to get it was to stick around for a while. I ran from my tree. I found out I could travel anywhere by simply thinking of someone or something. Of course, I could have gone to her first, thought of her first, perhaps gotten my answer first. But I wasn't ready. I needed to be somewhere safe instead. My 3 most cherished friends came to mind. I found myself in Donna's office after I thought of her. Really missed my good friend Donna. When she graduated from high school a year early and moved to New York, leaving me behind in Houston, we saw each other twice after and communicated once a week at most. As kids, we hung out every day. Then, my friend dashed through high school, college, and graduate school in just a few years, as though the process were a simple procedure of some kind. Donna even gave birth to her first daughter, Autumn, during her final semester of college. That is, she went into labor during a test, aced the thing, then went to the hospital. Told me later how the nurses laughed at how she had apologized for not shaving her legs before coming in. I laughed at her again for being so quirky. And by 23, she had a PhD in psychology and was married with her first child. I thought that was super fast. If anyone else had said they did all that so soon in life, I wouldn't have believed them. 2 years went by. Donna left the psychology practice she worked for and started her own, now with a second daughter, Summer. When Donna told me how to start a business by building a client base, she made it sound like she was reading the directions from microwave popcorn. She had quite a few regular patients already. The way her mind worked and how she made everything seem easy made me miss her more. We had the most engaging conversations, and the topic could be anything from finance to fiction to flowers. Whatever we discussed, my friend had something intelligent and often witty to say. I thought of Donna often when she left. I thought of all three of my best friends who had made something of themselves when they left. Donna's office in Schenectady was where I calmed down. Got my mind off the door slam from that other chick whose very name upset me too much even to utter right then. I found my ever-consistent friend was with a patient. George, she said with her Americanized British accent. Donna was born in North Yorkshire, where her dad lives. I see you brought your baby pug to our session. Is that all right? Of course. How is life with a new companion? Great, Dr. Mitchell. We got everything. We go everywhere together. He has to go out, so I go too. You were right. I needed a reason to leave the house. George sat on his hands. You'll never guess what happened. 2 days ago, I met someone on my walk with Spike. He's a fireman and saves lives. Cool, huh? Aren't you proud of me? Tell me more, Donna said. But then her mobile vibrated. When she saw the number, she gave her devastated look, which few could spot. She raised her left eyebrow and slightly widened her eyes. Her nose would move as though to sniff something bitter. Excuse me, I must take this call. One moment, please, George. Her patient sat back and petted Spike. Donna answered the phone. Yes. Her eyes closed real slow, and she yanked at the bun of her broom blonde hair. I realized that she was getting the bad news about me, but she tried to keep her composure around her patient. I will be in Houston by Friday. See you then. When her patient left, Donna hugged her thin body. Would have sworn she said, I can't believe this is happening. Yet her lips didn't move. It was as if I heard her thought. I tried to soothe her, mostly because I felt guilty. When I reached for one of her long legs, my hand simply went right through her. I whispered her name into her ear. She lifted her face as if to listen. Then she shook her head and picked up her cell phone. After this, I refused to become one of those oddball invisibles who tried to talk to the living. A few kids saw me. I noticed neighborhood children watching me when I approached the oak tree. I taught first graders briefly. Based on my experience with children, I guess some willed themselves to see what others ignored. If you turned away from something long enough, you would forget it existed and trick your mind into believing whatever you told it. The loud cabinet door in your kitchen opened because of the foundation issues. You didn't really see your dead grandmother in the mirror that one time. The air conditioning broke last summer, yet you got random chills. Your imagination got the best of you, right? Wait, are you alone in the room? Was someone watching you a moment ago? Forget those paranoid thoughts and paranormal enthusiasts. Rejects who want to steal your money. They're con artists. Soulless and talentless hacks are plain nuts, which doesn't explain me at all. But forget that. Ignore your gut too. Don't dare accept a reality no one else would. You'd be strange. This logic works both ways. I believe kids are innocent enough to notice me. Donna blew her nose into a tissue and called her husband, John, to cry into his ear. I heard him shush their loud daughters in the background. This got depressing. I wandered over to a conference room in Austin where my friend Samantha Irene Gray sat. Technically, I thought of her, and all of a sudden there I was in the room next to her. Samantha, her Uncle Tom, and some executives had begun to listen to a pre-presentation by a recent college graduate and assistant agent when I showed up. We're better, he had said. And? Samantha asked, awaiting the real pitch. What else, Pablo? In today's world, you have to tell people what they want, strong arm them. You can't describe an idea to people anymore. They fast forward through those. They want the point in 2 words or less. You have to tell them the bottom line right away. Otherwise, everyone will take you for granted and forget about you. Pablo lifted a big cardboard cutout with black words. We're better. Written on a white background. Notice that this doesn't go around the bottom line. It's there in the middle. Nothing else. Nothing else indeed, Samantha muttered. So all you have is, we're better. 2 words on a blank cutout. No graphics? You don't need graphics when you're better. You say the words and make people listen. That's why I used a basic font for the text. No one will care anyway. The agent used a coy tone through this time. Samantha rose from her seat and hit the letters with the light of her laser pointer. What else do you have? What else do you need when you're better? Pablo laughed alone in the room of 5. He sat down. Samantha slapped the cardboard cutout to the floor. So you don't have any more pitches, and after 3 weeks all you have is 2 words on a cutout. Mediocrity comes to mind as I think more and more about your we're better pitch. When did we hire you? 3 weeks ago. Fantastic. No unemployment checks. What? That's a nice way to say leave. Next Wednesday we have to present the clients with 10 billboard ideas. 10. And you have a black font on a cutout. No graphics, with 2 words. Sure, we could try we're better. But then they'll ask, what else? Why are we paying you? And you'll have nothing. Instead of being prepared with even a basic rebuttal, you tried to sell me an idea of a naked man who reeked of compost while you claimed it was a glistening knight who smelled great. And you did it poorly. If we gave them this idea, which I can't stress enough is way too oversimplified and bland, they would laugh and walk out. Now remove yourself from my sight before I remove you. Samantha pointed to the door. Pablo's mouth opened and he stared at Tom Pierce. The 65-year-old played with his mustachios. Then he tipped his white cowboy hat. My little niece is all grown up. Irene's right. Your idea stank. Take your we're better ass out of the building and don't forget your crummy cutout. He shooed him with a hand. Samantha touched her hips. She cocked her head and smiled. You'll rule this day, you dyke, Pablo yelled at her. Tom sat up. No one talks to my niece like that, Nimrod. Leave before I lose my cool. Burt Reynolds called. He said to give him his hat back. Aren't you an Indian? Why are you wearing a cowboy hat? God, I've wanted to say that for so long. Tom gripped his prized hat, which he often wore even when I was 12. I'm a proud Cherokee, son, don't be mistaken. And Bert gave me this. It's a perfect replica of one from Smokey and the Bandit. Did he say the Trans Am outside too? The one with a cheap paint job? Asked Pablo. If only you'd had a decent rebuttal like that one during your pitch. Samantha folded her arms. Tom added, Look, I don't have to explain myself to the likes of you. I'm Tom, owner of this building, Pierce, and you're some unemployed loser. Get up before my niece and I throw you all together. So the hot temper runs in the family, I wanted to utter. Although I only met her mother a handful of times, I could see by Tom's reaction just now that the rage Samantha often showed as a kid was inherited maternally. I have a contract. I'll sue you both for wrongful termination. Well, I hope for your sake your argument of wrongful termination, she made quote fingers, is more than we're better, Samantha said as Pablo slammed the door. I tagged along with Samantha as she walked toward her office. I'd been to P&G a few times before. Yes, I didn't notice until this visit how people avoided eye contact with her as she walked by them. One employee was about to make a shot into the unsuspecting trash can with a large ball of paper. Samantha rolled her eyes at him and the other employees. Everyone raced back to work. I would have told her, be nice to people. A bad attitude could backfire tenfold. But I knew she would have said, a strong arm commands respect. Or at least her Uncle Tom taught her so. He was the closest man to a father in her life. Quite a few times, I'd find the two practicing martial arts on the lawn early in the morning before I walked to school. I wouldn't question their bond, even if I disagreed with the way they both commanded respect. Speaking of fathers. And Mr. Bates is on the line for you. Says it's urgent. Chris, Samantha's secretary, said with a male hormone-induced raspy voice. He grunted from the effects of testosterone pills. I thought I heard Samantha mutter, "Why would Mr. Bates call me? And here?" But her lips didn't move at all. She marched into her office and grabbed her phone. "Hello?" Samantha listened. "Friday. I will. Of course, I'm shocked." Tears welled in her eyes. I'll be there, Mr. Bates." She hesitated to speak. "Greg. Right. I'll contact Greg for you." Before she made the tougher call, she phoned her girlfriend Shelley. "I need you now." She started bawling. On my way, Shelley was always ready to comfort Samantha. My friend needed someone like her, and I was off the charts happy for Samantha when she met the saucy redhead of her dreams, Shelley McElroy, during her first year in Austin. At the same time, I missed Samantha dearly when she left Houston. She'd visit, vice versa. It just wasn't the same. I watched her cry more. I wasn't prepared to feel this sad too. And so I popped over to Greg's studio in Albuquerque, right as his phone rang. Really, all I had to do was think about him, and there I stood next to the guy. Greg had been in love with my other friend Samantha since we all met. This was the worst kind of call to get from anyone, and now, because of me, he'd always associate his childhood crush, his first love, with my death and this call. "I'm such an inconsiderate asshole," I would have said. He finished washing blood from a commando knife they'd given him during training and dropped the blade into the sink. Trickles of red water twirled around the sink drain. Greg rinsed and wiped down his basketball player-sized hands. He grabbed his phone. "Hey, Greg." Greg listened. "I'll see you there." He dropped his phone, his back arched. He gazed at the ceiling. Although I'd never seen Greg cry, he told me he did once when he stubbed his toe as a kid. He was messing with me, though. I didn't understand why he needed a special circumstance to show sadness, or why he covered his reasons with jests. I could tell Greg cried inside right then, but he refused to allow tears out from their ducts as his forehead veins pulsated. His head tilted down. I heard cryings for civilians, no time for this, in Greg's voice, but not out loud. By then I knew I could hear flashes of people's thoughts, similar to how an antenna in a car picks up radio waves. Greg lay on his sofa bed and cradled the cross on a silver chain. He folded his massive biceps to cushion his head. I always wanted bulging arms like his. Then again, Dad used to tell me, comparison is a path to failure. Greg stared as though cartoons formed from the popcorn-shaped wall patterns. This time I even saw what he was thinking of as if it were playing on the screen next to his face. He thought of me. His face remained stern and blasé. Born soldier, body and soul. A loyal friend who always kept his word. When Friday arrived, Greg met Donna and Samantha outside the house. The three hugged for the first time since we'd met to celebrate Greg's return from training 11 months ago. Samantha remained behind the others at the entranceway with her head down. Greg and Donna approached the door with hesitation, and Donna knocked. A few moments passed, so I walked through the door to see what was keeping Dad from opening the thing. He stood there on the other side and traced the lines of the mahogany-colored wood with his gaze. He thought about a time that did not smell like mothballs in morning. A time when his teeth shone worry-free, white. A time when he felt young and ever capable instead of feeling like some unnamed old man who cried over the very words, overdosed, dead, son. My dad wiped away all signs of tears. Dad greeted my friends wearing food-stained pajamas and reeking of pipe tobacco. It had been a couple years since I'd seen either of my parents. And he used to be happy. He used to dress, act, and smell like a father. And my robotic engineer mother, where was she? Why, in her kitchen. Where else would have she been? She was at home. It's not as if, say, her only son had died. Not even that deterred her from the routine of working and cooking and prompt schedules. Dinner had to be ready at 7 o'clock sharp. That way the dishes were running in her dishwasher before she went to bed. Otherwise, Mom would hear the noise all night. How about you greet my friends, Mom? Doesn't matter. Even if I were alive, she would have heard me. She never listened to a word I had said. Everyone except Mom soon sat around a short coffee table. Dad leaned back in his squeaky recliner. When I was a toddler, he'd read to me from the chair about lions and tigers and bears. At 5, I read to him about science and nature. Dad said, "This is so pleasant, the three of you here. My apologies for the circumstance." I couldn't believe Dad said the last part. The nerve of him. "Thank you for having us," Thomas said. Resembling a man in recovery from a serious accident, Dad stared off. He was pale. Although he was only 60, he appeared way older. His lips shifted from a frown into a crooked line. I always wondered, when did you all meet my son? Samantha glanced away to think, and she saw Mom's vintage lamp with a pattern of 4 bluebirds on a shade. Bluebirds, she grinned. We made wishes on them as kids. Everyone did it. We heard they symbolized specifically luck and happiness, so we were supposed to wish for something in relation. But some people would make random wishes instead, like for power. I like the concept, yet wishes are about luck. You want something random to happen that would make everything great. Of course, this went against my belief system of cause and effect, so I never really thought of any of our wishes could come true. Still, making wishes became habitual. My friends made wishes. I did too, and never shared how I believed wishes were frivolous. Samantha thought about wishes and bluebirds and me, and she noticed the lampshade was older than we were. She loved antiques, and she thought of the vintage armoire her grandmother had left to her. She tended to think about too much at once. Met a while ago around... I noticed she often mixed her words when she was upset. I guess I never realized until now that Samantha was partly dyslexic, which explains a lot. I could never talk her into reading a good old thick book, for instance. Donna observed Samantha hesitate and said, "It was when I moved to the States with my mother. I think we were all around 12, 6th grade, mid-year, a Wednesday, lunchtime." Greg was on the spot. But his tone was impatient. Must have been something he picked up during his training. Seems, while he was there, Greg had discovered a nasty habit of biting his fingernails to help him think. "You're 25, right, Greg?" "Yes, sir." Greg bit a nail. "You remember the 6th grade?" "I don't recall breakfast." "Please, tell me about the day you met Fred." "How'd you meet exactly?" Dad asked. "It's not when or how that's important, sir. It's what brought us together. Something Fred taught us," said Greg. "What's that?" In unison, my friends answered, "Karma."